Welcome back, everyone, to the KR Daily Transmission. My name is Kaia, and I'm the author of the Sophia Code. If you're new to our channel, we have a special treat for you today. It is my great pleasure and joy to introduce to you our certified Sophia Circle leader, Keli Meagher, who's joining us live today. And she is about to launch her next Sophia Circle Journey starting on August 30th. So I would love for you to get to know Keli better in today's conversation. She's already led 3 Sophia Circle journeys through the Sophia Code. So we're going to have so much that we get to talk about with Keli. And so please join me in bringing a warm welcome, both in the live chat as well as in the video comment field, welcoming Keli to today's KR Daily Transmission. Hi, Keli.
Hi, Kaia. Great to be here.
It's wonderful to have you here today. Let's begin at the beginning. I was reading through some of my notes for today's interview, and I loved how honest, I was laughing through some of your notes and just how honest you were about what it was like for you when you first came in contact with the Sophia Code. From what I understand, you were in a priestess program, and this priestess program actually had the Sophia Code as a required book on your reading list to complete your priestess program. So share a little bit more with me about what that journey was for you when you first met the Sophia Code.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was doing it for homework. It wasn't something that I was attracted to because it was like flowery language. I felt like I was reading a foreign language.
Yes.
And so I really committed because I'm a good student. I'm going to read the book. And then I got to Isis's chapter, her activation, and I was like, wow, because I didn't grow up in a religious context. I went to church every now and then with different people. So I had no relation to any of the mentors that I was being introduced to in the Sophia Code. And so I didn't realize until I read Isis's activation how I was being affected from it, even without really being so-called deep into religion. And so that was really eye-opening.
How religious dogma and doctrine was impacting you, even though you hadn't been raised in religion.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so during the Key Code 1 initiation, you got to feel it or see it. How could you identify it? What came up for you?
Tears. With me, I don't get chills. I cry when I hear truth. And when I was reading the truth, it was like, wow. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
I went through all the chapters and got to Kuan Yin, and I had a literal detox from that because I was down for 3 days after reading it because I had gone to a healer and she said, you need to forgive yourself. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'll forgive myself. But then when I got to Kuan Yin, I'm like, oh, this is the level of forgiveness that she's talking about, this karuna, compassion. Yes. And it's just it floored me. And so, yeah. And I made it all the way through the Sophia Code.
Which is a monumental achievement because the Sophia Code is extremely activating. Every word is activating your sovereign divinity, and most of the time through the first read through the book, you don't even know what's happening. The words are so they're working on so many different aspects of your consciousness that very often people aren't even aware of the amount of change, growth, triggering, healing that's coming through the book. And so it's remarkable given the resistance that you had to it at first, and then to identify how much healing it was going to be triggering within you. And then you still keep saying yes, and you went all the way through the book. That's incredibly inspiring, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to what you're sharing because the language does come from a very high consciousness. It's coming directly from the Divine Mother. It's coming directly from the Ascended Masters. They're not earthbound. It's a language that does take time to get used to, and so how was it after you read it for the first time and then realized, oh, wow, this book is transforming my life. What was it like reading through a second time?
Well, I continue to do the reading of the Sophia Code, but I have to tell you,
Yeah.
after last year's Sedona retreat, I
Yes.
had this divine download, and it was so profound because I never did curriculum one before signing up to do the leadership program.
Oh,
Otherwise, I
wow.
would have known
Yeah.
this. But when I first read Kuan Yin, I didn't relate to her story about the rape and being left for dead. But
Yeah.
after Sedona last year, I had the divine download that makes me cry. That that's society, that's humanity, that we've been raped and left for dead.
That's right.
That
That's exactly
Mahatma
right.
Avatar Babaji is like the Sophia Code. And that's why, just like Kuan Yin is like standing back from him, we can only handle
Yes.
so much light and love. And it's like, how much light and love can we let into our hearts?
Yes.
The more you want it, the more you're addicted to the Sophia Code and you can't get enough. Seriously. When you
Oh,
feel that so
thank
much
you.
love and so much, yeah, so much love and light, it's like you just want more, you just want to bathe in it.
And it's over 300 pages of bathing in divine love and divine light. It's your own divine love and it's your own divine light that you're bathing in.
Yeah.
It's what you just shared is so remarkable. And I know it's going to help so many people to understand why they feel drawn to the Sophia Code. Um, it's not easy to put those words to articulate that expression, and you did in such a heartfelt way. Thank you so much. Um, That's exactly what's happening. And if you look at the story as of like in White Buffalo Woman's story, like how the man wanted to rape her, or with Kuan Yin, how she was raped and then left for dead. And it's just like, how does the divine feminine consciousness of God rise up to continue to unconditionally love and grow and expand and heal and reach towards that sovereign empowerment beyond rape consciousness? That is our calling as the human race. We have to choose. We have to collectively choose that we're going to heal beyond the raping of humanity's heart and body and mind, and rise up in our sovereign divine light and keep loving and growing and expanding, not just for ourselves but for the whole world. And so it's amazing to me that you kept showing up to this journey that asks everything. Like the Sophia Code doesn't ask, like a part of you to show up. It asks all of you to show up. It asks for both the shadow and the light and the reconciliation of every part of you to come online, first for yourself and then for your service. Yeah. And so it's so cool to hear that Stargate One curriculum journey through the book took you even deeper,
Yeah.
and then really prepared you for the Sophia Circle Leadership Certification Program. So share a little bit with me about what was it like walking through those self-mastery activation steps in Sophia Circle leadership in the program?
It was profound. Like I every step of the way was just like, again, more love, more compassion for myself, more understanding of who I am, more understanding
Mm.
of the world in general. Like it just is such a beautiful gift. And um, when I heard the call to do the Sophia Circle leadership, it was just like everything in me, again, tears, like, yes, yes, you got to do this. I didn't have the money, I didn't have the time, but I'm like, I got to do this. So I signed up,
Amazing.
and Mother Mary led me during this journey. She led me to Lourdes, France, to her healing waters. And it was like such a beautiful experience. And I'm so grateful that that happened during my leadership training. And because it
Oh
was
my
very
God.
healing to be there and to have had, now at that point, I had a relationship with Mother Mary, and it just like deepened when I was there. And Kuan Yin too.
And what year was that you were a part of it?
2019 is when I did it.
Wow. And that's really when we were preparing the French translation of the Sophia Code. Like that's that's amazing that you journeyed to France during the movements. Wow, it's very meaningful for me to hear that. And And I felt Mother Mary so strongly around you before I even got on this camera. I went and I took off my other piece of jewelry and I put on my rosary, no less. Like it was like a Mother Mary rosary moment. And I was like, okay, Mother Mary, you really work with Keli. And I could just feel how she's just constantly embracing you and your spiritual leadership and your ministry with the Sophia Code and your Sophia Circle Journey. So thank you for allowing, that the transmission of the Sophia Code to really support you to follow your heart, because I can feel what like a reclamation of your soul that was for you to pilgrimage to Lourdes and to receive those healing waters in France with Mother Mary. It's interesting for me to hear about. Um, there was this moment where you were sharing about being in the certification program. There's something I want to go deeper with that with you. Let me just take a moment here. What did it feel like? What did it feel like for you to connect with other leaders that were choosing their sovereignty in the certification program, that were also walking through these steps with the Sophia Code? How did that feel for you? There's something there about community.
I was just excited for us all that we all said yes to show up for ourselves. Like, how huge.
Yeah.
And to make that commitment to make it through the leadership program is like, it's a time commitment, again, time and financial commitment to get through. And like being on camera, you have to
Yes.
show yourself, and that was scary, right? And a lot of us got stuck there and we're like cheering each other on. You can do it, you can do it.
Yes, that module 2 activation where you get on camera for the first time and everybody clams up and they're like, wait, what? I
Yeah,
have to get on camera to run a virtual Sophia Circle Journey? It's like, yeah, that's the virtual part.
yeah. Well,
Oh
see, so in
man.
my mind going through it, I was going to do in person. Like I had it all lined to do
Yeah,
in person, and then COVID hit. And so then that's when I got certified, and I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do now? Because I'm not very tech savvy. So
right.
I did it virtual. My first one I did with family and friends, and I just did it for the experience and for their feedback and testimonials, and that was a blessing to have that circle of friends and family do it with me.
Beautiful. And what I love about the timing, because that was a very strange timing for all of us, like the Ascended Masters, when we first launched the program, there was such almost like a pressure to only release it for in-person journeys. And the Ascended Masters kept coming to me and saying, no, you absolutely have to add a bonus module for online training. Like Sophia Circle Journeys absolutely has to be virtual. And I said, I would ask, well, why? And they said, there's something coming where, you know, I obviously wasn't ready to really look at what was coming because it was so devastating to witness. But they said, something's coming and people are going to really need to connect virtually. And I thought, okay, done deal. I don't need to know more. So we released the virtual aspect. And that really unraveled a lot of light workers that joined the program, because they never expected to need to do a virtual circle. And what I found was so fascinating was that, I mean, I call it the plandemic, given what I feel like was really going on during that time over the past 2 years. And to witness the extraordinary like quantum leaps that leaders started to take in their journey of serving online, and to witness, like to bear witness to your blooming, your blossoming in that aspect of your service. What an honor and joy to be a part of that in your offering. I also love, like, everything you're sharing is so honest, it's so real, it's so authentic. I just really first of all want to thank you for for your vulnerability to show up this authentically, because there's so many people, men and women, that are going to feel your heart and understand that their fears are normal and natural when approaching something that's this powerful. Like, this is an extremely powerful leadership training. Stepping into our sovereignty is the everything, and most of humanity is terrified of sovereignty. And one of the pieces around sovereignty that we often come up against in the spiritual world is, I can't afford it, like sovereignty with finances, sovereignty around money. And so as a platform, we're committed to serving everyone at every level. We offer so many free resources of education between the prayer collective, the YouTube lives. And there's so many ways that we have done outreach over the past 7 years. And we are also very consistent in welcoming people to activate their abundance consciousness, just like we did in 8 days of, of abundance with Green Tara Journey on YouTube. It was like, hey, this is part of light work too, is owning your journey of prosperity, owning your direct relationship with abundance, knowing this is between you and God and not between what happened with you and your parents or religion or anything that you've been taught about money, prosperity, and abundance. And so this is an inside job. And what I heard from you was you went on an inner journey around abundance to make this happen for yourself, to show up and invest in the certification program, which turned out to be a great return of investment for you, both spiritually, emotionally, and financially, because you're having these clients come in and go on these journeys with you. So will you share about the guts that it took to say yes to a certification program like this?
Like I said, everything in me just said yes. I don't even know that
Yeah.
it was a choice. It was just like, you gotta do this.
And then what were the steps that happened after that knowing, right? There was a knowing, and then how did you follow your heart through the knowing that it had to happen?
Yeah, it's just a commitment, right? And you're gonna do things are
Yeah.
gonna fall into line that is gonna support you in this commitment. It's like that next level of commitment up, that just everything, the ascended masters just provide you the way, money, unexpected money from different places, and it all worked out very beautifully. And I'm just so grateful to have made it through the journey and to be here now and to continue to be of leadership, because I want to awaken more hearts, and I love that you have water involved in all of because water is such a blessing and so important to humanity's evolution. And there's so much. And so, yeah, I wore green in honor of the abundance of Green Tara.
Oh, I
Are
love
back there
that.
with Mother Mary, because I've been really feeling
Yes.
into that, with everybody, with the talk of the recession and the lack and scarcity and the fear that's pervasive. It's like we need to change the stories. And so thank you for doing the 8 days of abundance with Green Tara. Like, it's important for us to own that abundance and prosperity that's within us, that this is offering us through the Sophia Code.
Yes, thank you for sharing that, because I mean, what a key code mentor to guide us in prosperity consciousness, and that these teachings, whether we get them right away or not, especially in a Sophia Circle journey, you're marinating in the transmission. It's chipping away at the resistances towards abundance. It's chipping away at our resistances towards accepting our higher self and our divinity, guiding us to a higher path, a path of greater alignment that resonates with greater abundance in our life. And I love what you shared about, hey, we have to embody this. If not us, who? Right? It's like, are we going to go down with the ship, or are we going to build a bridge of light that, people who want to prosper, who want to evolve, that want to ascend, can cross over that bridge into
Yes.
their own spiritual awakening? So well shared. Thank you. So I would love for you to share more about that journey from being certified to leading your first Sophia Circle journey. I know that you said Mother Mary and Kuan Yin, which the water rituals that you mentioned come as a part of Kuan Yin's water prayer that happen in every single Sophia Circle journey. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time and you're like, what is a Sophia Circle journey? A Sophia Circle journey includes 13 gatherings, whether it's in person or online virtually. And you go on this journey through these 13 gatherings with a selected Sophia Circle leader through the 13 chapters of the Sophia Code. And what unfolds in each of these gatherings is always according to an official manual that's a blueprint from the Ascended Masters that guides collective awakening to sovereignty. So you get to do your personal journey of activating that divine genome in the Sophia Code, activating your personal understanding of sovereignty, while doing it in an emotionally safe container for the collective to activate, to do a group activation at the same time. And what I love a lot about that concept is that how many times have we gone to a spiritual workshop and like it's just there's a certain level of weird where someone goes off the rails and it's just it can feel sticky or uncomfortable or codependent. But what happens in a Sophia Circle journey is you get to experience a container of spiritual awakening that's consecrated to sovereignty. So what that means is like there's just no like sideways funny business that anyone can really dip into, because there's a collective prayer for everyone to become empowered in their inner journey while they're gathered as a group. And that's something that I feel like is a really new sovereign blueprint on the planet, that we've received overwhelming testimonies about, you know, what that has transformed for people in their personal spiritual journey. And I'd love to hear from you, Keli, about what it feels like to facilitate a sovereign container of awakening with these Sophia Circle journeys.
I feel like it's the binder, the journey itself that you downloaded is like the riverbanks and the participants in the river going down. And so it's going to be unique for each person, their experience, and that their sovereign empowerment that's being activated. And it's just a beautiful thing because you're safe because you're within those boundaries of the riverbanks, but you're allowed to flow. And yeah, it's a beautiful.
That river is such a great analogy. It's like source, the light of source consciousness just flowing like a current through the whole experience. I love that analogy of the riverbank. So how was it for you leading your first Sophia Circle journey?
Well, I was petrified because because I was doing it online, and but it was nice. Like I said, I did it with my family and friends, and so there was a comfort level there, which was really good. And I did a second one, and I made it as far as Mother Mary. Well, we made it. We did the whole thing. There was like three of us, and the 3 participants besides myself. And one of them ended up not coming back after Mother Mary's activation. And I heard from her like 6 months later. And Mother Mary brought up a lot for her. There was stuff there between her and her mother, but she contacted me like 6 months later, and she had said that sorry that she decked out, but her mother ended up getting very ill and ended up passing away. So that was an interesting thing that happened in the second. And then in the third one that I did, it was actually a one-on-one experience, which was actually quite beautiful. And the person that I was journeying with, she had a nephew that had just been born, and he was having some health implications that kept him in the hospital. And so every journey he was with us. And he's like doing great now. He's like 1.5 years old, thriving, and it was just awesome. So that was very special.
You know, that's so interesting. You're the second leader that has shared with me that there was a significant shift for someone with a life and death situation during a Sophia Circle journey. And I mean, given the context of this participant and that her last circle was the Mother Mary chapter, and then her mother was, I mean, it was like perfectly setting her up to be mentored by Mother Mary as she walked through this journey of releasing her mother to the other side. And I love that the Sophia Code meets us at those times in our life where we so deeply need these teachings. Even if we don't understand why, it's lining us up for our greatest empowerment, our greatest healing, our greatest sovereignty. How was it to journey with that group, that second group, all the way through to the end of the Sophia Code together? What was, even though this one woman had to attend to this event that happened in her life, and that was perfectly timed, obviously, for her personal journey, but what was it like that second time completing this Sophia Circle journey for you, walking a group of individuals through the Codex?
Every time it's so different, and I grow every time, which is such a beautiful gift, right? Because we're all growing every time we go through it, so we want to keep going through it. Like I said, I just can't get enough.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like, I want more of me, I want more light, I want more love, I want more.
And that's exactly how this container was designed, that you would, and it's exactly how the transmission of the Sophia Code is. It's why we don't call it just a book. It is a sacred text because it's a transmission that no matter how many times you go back to it, it's going to upgrade you. It's going to up-level the game. It's going to help you deepen in your self-love and your self-compassion and your journey of self-forgiveness. And that was something that I had discovered in my own personal journey with light work and leadership before I ever even received the transmission to share of the Sophia Code. Identified that service was regenerative if it was offered in a sovereign way. And to serve our divine purpose in life, to uplift and empower others, brings great blessings and regenerative expansion to ourselves. And to experience that through the context of the Sophia Code, it was amplified 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
And that's part of that blueprint of leadership in the Codex. So it's really exciting to feel that you're experiencing that for yourself. I would love to share a little bit more about your next Sophia Circle journey. I guess it's beginning August 30th.
Yes, August 30th at 10
Would you like
a.m.
to share about the flow of how that's going to unfold?
We're going to meet every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Well, morning my time. I'm in California.
Great.
Virtually via Zoom. So yeah, 13 straight weeks to get through the Sophia Code together and empower yourself with sovereignty. I just love it.
Oh my gosh.
Can't get enough
It's
of
going to
it.
be amazing.
I keep asking you about a second book and I'm like, but there's so much here.
There's so much there. There's so much there that I mean, in response to that question is like, we birthed multiple curriculums after the book was released. We birthed the Stargate 1 curriculum to get to journey through the Sophia Code as a self-study course. Then we birthed Stargate 2 for spiritual leadership, which is its own university level course. And then we birthed the Sophia Circle certification program to be able to lead with the Sophia Code. We also did the soul power journey and psychic development. So there was a lot of mystery school curriculums that wanted to come forward to support people and our leaders in how to lead with the Sophia Code, how to integrate these teachings. And finally, I am working on that next book. And that next book is with Mother Mary. So it's kind of perfect too.
I guess I have to read that one.
Right. So that's really perfect.
Okay, get it done.
Perfect timing to have that conversation together with someone that loves Mother Mary like you do, Keli. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I'm really celebrating your upcoming Sophia Circle journey that starts on August 30th. And many blessings to you and to everyone that is going to be attending that circle virtually. If you would like to get in touch with Keli and learn more about her ministerial offerings and her Sophia Circle leadership, you can find Keli on my official Sophia Circle Leaders directory at my website, kaiara.com. So be sure to check out Keli and all of our beautiful Sophia Circle leaders there. Thanks, Keli. Have a wonderful evening. It's been great connecting with you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.